point to you is the accusation that the Democrats on this committee do not care about the safety of federal judges. I did not interrupt you, sir. I would appreciate if you let me finish. I am sick and tired of hearing the kind of heated partisan rhetoric, which is one of the reasons why we have such divisions in this country. The attacks we see from the President of the United States of America trolling and dragging judges through is what we should be talking about that puts people in danger. I'm simply taking issue with the claim that you made at the top that people on the Democratic side of the aisle do not care about the safety and the security of judges and said nothing. You said we were silent after people's houses were protested. That is a patent lie, sir.
And I will give my colleague from New Jersey a chance to just answer a simple yes-no question. Should the Biden Justice Department have enforced the criminal law against protesting at a justice's home? Yes or no?
So the rank hypocrisy.
Senator Cruz humiliates Booker during heated Senate hearing on hypocrisy. Buckle up, because today's Senate hearing was a straight-up firestorm. Senator Ted Cruz went toe-to-toe with Democrat Senator Cory Booker. Yep, the guy they call Spartacus. And let me tell you, it was a fierce showdown. The rhetoric was razor-sharp, and it laid bare just how divided Washington is when it comes to protecting our judges. Stick with me to the end, and don't forget to smash that subscribe button so you never miss these kinds of epic confrontations.
Would you indulge me for a moment?
We indulge you every moment.
I appreciate that act of generosity. It's just something you said that I think is actually dangerous and should be addressed, and you're welcome. But when Judge Anderol was killed in New Jersey, the Republican colleagues in the Senate, their outpouring of support, their outpouring of concern, they're willing to work together on a bipartisan bill was extraordinary. It shows the truth of this institution that despite some of the fiery rhetoric that you were sowing, we're really a bipartisan, working bipartisanship. Cornyn and Coons, after the incidents you're talking about, got together and actually passed a bill to better protect our Supreme Court justices, many of whom are friends of ours. You know, Gorsuch and I disagree on a lot of stuff. I knew his wife before he did. We studied together at Oxford. This implication that there was silence when there were threats on their people's houses is absolutely absurd. I remember the rhetoric and the comments, the concern from Coons. I actually distinctly remember you, Chairman, on more than once condemning those attacks on Republican-appointed jurists. To say things like that feeds just the partisanship in this institution and feeds the fiery rhetoric. And it's just plain not true. It's just plain not true. And I think you know that, but we can pull from the record from my colleagues in real time, literally days afterwards, condemning it. There's a lot of substantive things to say here, but to think that the lack of humanity when people's homes are being threatened was not in existence, I think that's unfair and really concerns me that you would say that in the way that you did.
Well, I thank my colleague from New Jersey. I will note, as John Adams observed, that facts are stubborn things. And it is existing federal law, 18 U.S.C. section 1507, that makes it a crime to protest at a judge's home. And the law provides whoever with the intent of interfering with, obstructing, or impeding the administration of justice, or with the intent or of influencing any judge, juror, witness, or court officer in the discharge of his duty, pickets or parades in or near a building housing a court of the United States, in or near a building or residence occupied or used by such judge, juror, witness, or court officer, or with such intent uses any sound truck or similar device or resorts to any other demonstration in or near any such building or residence, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 1 year or both. That is federal criminal law. Night after night after night, angry mobs were outside the Supreme Court justices' homes, and in the entire course of it, the Biden Justice Department prosecuted nobody. We had the Attorney General sitting at that table, and multiple Republican senators asked him, why are you not enforcing the law? What they are doing is a crime. And my friend from New Jersey said, it is a lie to say we, the Democrats, condone this. I would challenge, my friend, find a single Democrat senator on this committee holding the Attorney General to account for not enforcing this law. I was here at those hearings, and I do not recall a single Democrat senator saying to the Attorney General, you should arrest these people who are violating the law. You should protect the judges. I agree that there was general language against violence, but not a single Democrat senator that I ever saw in this committee was willing to hold Attorney General Merrick Garland to account for flagrantly disregarding the federal criminal law because the Biden administration agreed with the protesters and I think wanted those justices harassed at their home.
Bipartisan fashion on May 9th. So if you're saying that we didn't criticize
Did the
Merrick
Biden
Garland,
DOJ arrest a single person under this law?
You are now changing the
No, that is what I
accusation
said. That is what I said.
Again, I'll pull the record.
Did the Biden DOJ arrest even one?
Again.
Cruz kicked things off by laying out the cold, hard facts. Federal law, 18 U.S.C. Section 1507, makes it a crime to protest at a judge's home with the intent to influence or intimidate them. Yet, night after night, angry mobs were camped outside Supreme Court justices' homes, and the Biden Justice Department didn't arrest a single person. Not one prosecution, not one enforcement of the law. Total crickets. Booker came back swinging, accusing Cruz of spreading lies. He brought up the tragic killing of Judge Esther Salah's son in New Jersey, pointing out that Democrats and Republicans teamed up to pass a bipartisan bill beefing up security for judges. Booker insisted Democrats weren't silent. They acted to protect the judiciary. He got heated, raising his voice, and called it a patent lie to say otherwise.
The answer is no.
My point to you is the accusation that the Democrats on this committee do not care about the safety of federal judges. I did not interrupt you, sir. I would appreciate if you let me finish. I am sick and tired of hearing the kind of heated partisan rhetoric, which is one of the reasons why we have such divisions in this country. The attacks we see from the President of the United States of America trolling and dragging judges through is what we should be talking about that puts people in danger. I'm simply taking issue with the claim that you made at the top that people on the Democratic side of the aisle do not care about the safety and the security of judges and said nothing. You said we were silent after people's houses were protested. That is a patent lie, sir. We were not silent. We took action. We joined in a bipartisan way to protect those judges, as was done in a bipartisan way to protect a New Jersey judge after their horrific attack at their home. So I see you now trying to shift the debate to whether we talk to an attorney general. I'm simply taking issue with this accusation that somehow we Democrats are so bad because we don't call out threats to our judicial colleagues. And that is wrong. You could change the argument now that you want, but what you said was patently not true and was in fact a patent lie.
So I do enjoy the fact that my colleague from New Jersey raises his voice and says it's a patent lie and says he's doing so in defense of lowering the rhetoric. There is some irony to doing those two together. I'll point out that in the entire course of those remarks, Senator Booker did not dispute the central point I made, which is the Biden Justice Department arrested 0 people, prosecuted 0 people, for violating the criminal law, and every Democrat senator on this committee was silent about it. And this was an ongoing pattern for months. And I would note also that the senator from New Jersey clutched his pearls about language threatening judges, and yet I do not recall a single Democrat senator of this committee saying a word when Chuck Schumer went to the steps of the Supreme Court and threatened the safety of the Supreme Court justices by name, Gorsuch and Kavanaugh, and he said, you have unleashed the whirlwind and you will pay the price. And not a single Democrat senator had a word to say about this. And so their outrage is selective. And I will give my colleague from New Jersey a chance to just answer a simple yes-no question. Should the Biden Justice Department have enforced the criminal law against protesting at a justice's home? Yes or no?
So the rank hypocrisy.
But Cruz wasn't backing down. He gave a nod to the bipartisan security bill but hammered his main point. Not a single Democrat on that committee pushed Attorney General Merrick Garland to enforce the existing law. Cruz called out Booker and his colleagues for looking the other way because those protesters' politics lined up with their own. Things got even hotter when Cruz brought up Senator Chuck Schumer's words on the Supreme Court steps, where he straight up threatened Justices Gorsuch and Kavanaugh by name, saying, "You will pay the price." Cruz demanded to know why Democrats stayed quiet about that dangerous rhetoric while claiming to stand against threats. Talk about calling out hypocrisy. As the clash hit its peak, Cruz put Booker on the spot with a simple question. Should the Biden DOJ have enforced the law against those protesters outside justices' homes? Yes or no? Booker dodged, pivoting to accuse Cruz of hypocrisy instead. That sidestep only proved Cruz's point. Democrats were more interested in protecting their politics than protecting judges. This fiery throwdown between Cruz and Booker showed just how deep the divide runs in Washington. On one side, Cruz was all about law and order, demanding accountability. On the other, Booker deflected and pointed fingers. The big question left hanging: why didn't the Biden DOJ enforce the law? If this breakdown got your blood pumping, hit that subscribe button and join me for more hard-hitting updates straight from the halls of Congress. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you make of this clash? Let's hear it. Thanks for watching, y'all. Catch you next time.